Welcome back, Mr. Wrong. We had you from like last weekend, 2457, with the guy who was like, hey, impregnate that woman. I need to give birth to me, even though I will definitely combust that woman, guaranteed. Guaranteed that woman will combust into flames. Ordinary Japanese people. Mr. Wrong. Is there something you want to tell me? What's this fascination, huh? That you got here? Oh boy, I'm scared. I'm scared it's gonna take a while. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Object class Euclid, special containment procedures. All instances of SCP-2478 are held in individual Type L humanoid containment cells at biological containment area 519. 3 deceased instances of SCP-2478 are to be held in area 519 morgue. No personnel of self-acknowledged Japanese descent are to be visible proximity. You know what, I'm going to take my headphones off for now because I've been wearing them for over 4 hours. Need to let my ears breathe a little bit, you know. No personnel or self-acknowledged Japanese descent are to be in visible proximity with SCP-2478 instances unless for approved testing. Approval may be sought from Project Head 2478. SCP-2478's freedom of religious practice is acknowledged under the Eugenio II Protocol. See document 2478-BOO for necessary provisions. WRT. SCP-2478's religious ceremonies. Personnel are to monitor religious ceremonies conducted by SCP-2478 instances. Description: SCP-2478 refers... No, I didn't mean to click on that again. Refers to an alternative phenotype of Homo sapiens sapiens, human. Distinctive physiological features include 14 legs arranged around the lower torso and 14 arms and 7 heads scattered around the torso arbitrarily. Reminds me of the forest. Locomotion is possible through a combination of multi-legged movement in metachronal rhythm, muscular contraction of its lower torso, and mucus secreted from underneath its body. Ew. Average height and mass are 2.8 meters and 400 kilograms respectively. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of legs, a lot of weight, a lot of legs and arms. While the torso circumference is 1.5 meters. SCP-2478 instances uniformly demonstrate fluency in the Haida dialect of Japanese and can comprehend standard Japanese. Interesting. I'm trying to think if there's anything like, in Japanese myth that could look like this, or be like inspired by this, like, or be an inspiration to this. Not that I can think of right now, but let's go on. A single 2478 instances possess 7 sets of most internal organs, example heart, lung, stomach. However, only one brain exists for a given SCP-2478 instance. It is located along its torso and has an average mass of 10.5 kilograms. Pretty heavy brain, dude. As such, a given SCP-2478 instance possess a single consciousness and all 7 mouths will speak in unison. Creepy, but fair enough. Although male or female reproductive organs or a combination of both have been found in SCP-2478, they're non-functional. I mean, good. Good to know. Not sure if you want to see that have... Yeah. Number of reproductive organs in a given SCP-2478 instance is consistently 7. SCP-2478 and images depicting it impose an anti-mimetic effect on human of Japanese descent, here referred to as subjects. Subjects will ignore any sign of SCP-2478's anomalous physiology and perceive them as non-anomalous human identified with gigantism. The idea of looking at that and be like, yeah, it's just a no being, it's just, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's just a normal human being, I don't understand. Subject will consistently dismiss any evidence suggesting SCP-2478's anomalous nature. Non-Japanese individuals who have been made to believe they are of Japanese descent, example falsified memories, are susceptible to this effect. Oh. What if you don't know if you're Japanese? Like, what if you have a little bit of like I don't know, 5% Japanese in you, then and you're not aware of that, and then you do a DNA test, and it's like, oh, you're 5% Japanese, and you're like, oh my god, I'm Japanese, and then does this thing it's only like, it's like, oh hey Greg, how you doing? Greg. What a non-Japanese name to give to him. Hey Tanaka, how you doing? Below is a translated excerpt by the Imperial Japanese Abnormal Matters Examination Agency. Yeah. So this, I don't think we need to read this. Yeah, I don't think there's a need to read this. For some platoons fighting in China, bayonets and katanas levitated on their will and surrounded the soldiers from in the higher mountains. Levitated on their will. The statement refers to SB-2478 instances who were known to hold weapons on all 14 hands. Yeah, it makes sense because, like, again, people probably view them as normal human beings. So for them, those other extra 13 swords, no, 12 because of course 2 hands. But those other extra 12 swords looked like they probably were just levitating around. And they fought on our side and killed many Chinese. The ancestors of these men, we speculate, must be on our side. After all, the folk of claimed lineage from the chaos of warring states. How did the Chinese, like, the Chinese must have first of all been fucking terrified seeing those like 14 arms and leg creatures was running at them with katanas. Subject of partial Japanese descent, example, half Japanese experienced this partial anti-memetic effect to a lesser degree. Okay, that answers one of my questions. Subject unaware of the Japanese descent, example, ignorance on the subject's part, amnesia, dementia, are unaffected by this anomalous effect and fully recognize SB-2478's physical appearance as non-human. There we go. That explains. Yeah, that explains 2 of my questions. Now again, like, what if you are not aware, but then you become aware of your Japanese descent, nationality? Does that suddenly activate or does it not? The earliest known sightings of SCP-2478 were from eyewitness accounts in Dairen since 1926, where they were deployed by the Kwantung Army, currently Dalian, Liaoning Province, China. Documents from the Imperial Japanese Army, IJA, described SCP-2478 instances as soldiers conscripted from Gifu Prefecture on the Japan conscription law and denied any anomalous traits attributed to SB-2478. Instead, IGA officials claimed there were non-anomalous humans with gigantism. What must be also so weird to talk to somebody who was like, no, it's just a human being with gigantism. Like, what is your deal? He's like, what is my deal? How can you say that? Looking at them like, what? Like what? If you think he's ugly, that would be rude for you to say. Like, I think it's a normal dude, man. It's a normal dude. Supplementary documents and personnel from Japanese-based organizations such as Bureau of Onmyo and Ijamio did not regard SB-2478 to be anomalous. Sometimes mistranslated in European languages as the Holy Emperor's Council on Unearthly Matters due to the mistranslation of the word Tenno, Heavenly Sovereign, as Holy Emperor. Despite some documents still utilize the term Holy Emperor's Council on Unearthly Matters. Some documents. Document 2237. 2237. 2237. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go back. There we go. Since that being said, the Bureau of Onmyo did not record any extra-normal event related to Village. A translated excerpt of said event is as follows. On August Meiji 12, the ETA of the in the Hida Mountains mysteriously vanished, equivalent to 1979 CE, also referred to as the Burakomian and outcast group at the bottom of the Japanese social order that has historically been the victim of severe discrimination and ostracism. Cause unknown, but there was little need to be concerned over the loss of gravediggers and butchers. Some days before, a foreign creature was said to have entered, whereabouts also unknown without the ETA, is no longer an Itamura ETA village. The day onwards was inhabited by another group of countrymen. They were unlike the ETA who previously dwelt in those lands. They were giants standing taller than the men of America, but appearances are deceiving. These new residents embody the Yamato spirit as any fellow countryman would, and are clearly worthy of being fellow subjects to His Imperial Majesty. They demonstrate a great efficiency in the production of rice and rearing of livestock, truly exemplary of nation. Yeah, of course they do that because they have 14 arms and 14 legs. Initial attempts to acquire SCP-2478 instances were met with resistance from the Japanese government, condemning the Foundation in violation of the rights of the Empire subjects. This was believed to be one of the contributing factors leading to the expulsion of all Foundation assets in the Japanese Empire on 1932. Yeah, okay, probably because there was like this weird, like, it's like, you are, this is an anomaly. No, it's a normal human being. You're attacking our Japanese citizens. It's like, no, that's not what it is. During the Second Sino-Japanese War, Chinese military and Foundation intelligence have reported SCP-2478 instances among IGA forces. IGA sources indicate that the entire SCP-2478 population in Japan have volunteered for conscription, operating in the China-Burma-India theater. Notably, SCP-2478 instances were not conscripted under the Yokai Battalion in IGAMEA sources. An IGA battalion which comprises entirely of anomalous entities. Yeah, again, because they probably don't see them as anomalous, they just think they're normal human beings who somehow can levitate swords. After Japan's surrender in 1945, the Japanese government permitted the relocation of the surviving SCP-2478 population in Japan to Area 519. A majority of text regarding the history of SCP-2478 was confiscated, although some remained unaccounted for. I probably will have to read this. Since containment 7 live specimens of SCP-2478 have been has been held by the Foundation, all of which have served in the IGA MEA as enlistees. Okay. Oh god, this is like something that just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? Just goes on and on and on and on. But we can read both. At least these parts. These are not too long. The remaining specimens, 50, were executed under the charges of war crimes and autopsied, after which they have been cremated following 1 year of post-mortem study. If Japanese people think they're normal human beings, and do they try to lift them up and be like, why do you weigh 400 kilos? Can you, like, does that not seem odd to them? Addendum 1, interview log -1-1, view interview log -1-1. Researcher James Xiang, interviewee -1, Bakatashi Bion. Full interview is originally conducted in Japanese. How would I address you? Bakatashi Wan from. Why do you keep us here, Chinese? Bakatashi, we know what you are. 7 heads, 14 arms and legs, hardly the average person, yet the Japanese think of you as one. We are an ordinary person, who only wish to be accepted as countrymen, but we are defiled non-human. The imperialist denies that, as did the shogun. For one of us is worth 1/7 of one ordinary person. We were cursed. How did you end up like this? We received a miracle from our Bodhisattva Vion. Said figure as known parallel in Shinto, Japanese Buddhist, Ryukyuan or Aino pantheons. He came to our village and took pity on our plight. Praised the craft that our countrymen mocked, the parting of skin from flesh and feeding of the dead to the earth. We tore our flesh in groups of 7 and we made us to become an acceptable Japanese person. And how do you feel about it? If we can be part of the in-group, nothing else matters. We will be the in-group for both this world and the next, so says Rion. Excuse me, what do you mean by this world and the next? Rion spoke of the true pure land that has to come, and that we would have a place in it for our share practice. Until then, we will have to get by the trials of this world. Surely he is Miracle. Miracle? Japanese name for Maitreya, a bodhisattva who will appear on earth in the future, achieve complete enlightenment and teach the pure Dharma. Oh, okay. Do you know where Rion is now? Rion returns to his throne, the womb of the deceased god. Rion will return within our 7-fold lifetimes, bearing his intolerable force upon all. Then 2. The Rion Matsuri is a traditional festival celebrated by SCP-2478. Instances during late August observed solely by them. A distinctive ritual of Rion Matsuri is the skinning of animal carcasses. The skin will be made into leather and placed as decorations before a statue representing Rion. At the conclusion of Rion Matsuri, the skin, flesh, and bones used would be buried into a single grave. Due to the non-anomalous nature of Rion Matsuri, the O5 Council has approved for the facilitation of SCP-2478 instances. Practice of the festival to maintain long-term compliance of the containment. And here we have a level 4 2478 clearance required. Oh my god. This must be a different SCP dose. Sarcasm. Okay, yeah, we saw this before. Okay. Due to its non-anomalous nature and superficial resemblance to Sarkic rites, observation of SCP-2478 religious ceremonies will be permitted to gather additional information on Sarkic ideology. However, if there is concrete evidence that these religious ceremonies possess anomalous side effects, abort said ceremonies and deny future incidents. Okay, but we're not done yet. We have some remained unaccounted for, which is here, Project Osensho 2006. Purpose: due to the mass disappearance of a significant percentage of the native Kappa population of the Empire, the IGMEA has deemed it necessary to synthesize replacement yokai in order to maintain the natural order of our aquatic ecosystem. There we go. And preserve the spiritual integrity of the nation. Yokai, we know what yokais are. Where's Zeno? He would love this. The significant goals of Project Osensho are as follows: determine the effectiveness and efficiency of IGAMEA genetic blending ability, explore the possibility of synthetic yokai and kami as alternatives to obstructively opinionated natural entities, create a series of potential replacement aquatic beings to fulfill the natural niche of the Kappa, introduce synthesized beings into the wild and monitor their activities until such an exercise is no longer deemed necessary. Due to difficulties involved with homeland operations, Project Osensho has been delegated to the Qinghai mainland division until such a time when successful results can be imported to Japan. Project Osensho is in many ways a spiritual successor to Project Kairu, which in 1942 attempted domestication of native Kappa population through selective breeding with human and non-human stock to create a more docile and pliable population for use in the yokai battalion. I'm not sure if I like that idea. Such efforts were largely failures, who I thought, and it was determined that Kappa were inherently poorly suited for the war effort. Okay, yeah. I mean, besides that they drown people when as a joke, I don't think they really have much to offer when it comes to combat. 3 outposts continue using copper as beasts of burden until their disappearance in 1999. Undeveloped and terminated embryos from these experiments were kept on ice at the Etorofu outpost until their destruction in 1945. Assets. Due to the scope of this undergoing, numerous materials and supernatural assets are required for the project and include several breeding population of Cryptobranchidae salamanders, upward of several hundred human volunteers and conscripts, funds and materials necessary for establishing laboratory environments for the project, several live and preserved copper specimens for comparative research, sourced from Georgia's Lake, any surviving texts of the Haida Mountain people with specific regards to flesh crafting magic. Ew, that sounds nasty. That sounds a little bit nasty. Results as of 2012, Project Ocean Shore is proceeding smoothly and is estimated to reach an optimal point within 3 years. Preliminary results have been promising. The current working model of organism named Shin Kappa is a hybridized animal composed largely of Homo sapiens and Andreas Davidianus with several genetic elements and exposed from copper specimens that have proven crucial to long-term survival. And Shin Kappa has a, yeah, Shin means new world. Shin Sekai. Sekai sorry, Shin means new, yeah, so like Shin Sekai would be new world, because Sekai is world. Initial experiments consisted largely of grafting procedures and genetic modification of human stock. Unfortunately, such experiments were frequently failures, as non-negotiable differences between mammalian and amphibian anatomy resulted in weak and sickly beings that were not able to survive any extended period of time outside a laboratory environment. That sucks. That's rough, buddy. A number of prototypic entities were released in a natural setting, resulting in the deaths of all but one, who was abducted by an unknown entity and is considered missing in action. Following the failure of the first round of experimentation, the Shanghai division turned to the use of flesh crafting ritual in order to more effectively combine disparate organisms. After early attempts resulted in the unintentional deaths of 4 soldiers, 220 salamanders, and the oldest living copper specimen in IGA-MEA possession. Such avenues were abandoned. It has been decided that IGA-MEA projects should not incorporate such methods until such a time as they can conclusively be deemed safe to use. This prohibition does not apply to emergency situations such as direct threat on Japan or its people. The most recent experimentation has returned to a genetic basis. IGA-MEA scientists first created a subspecies of Andreas japonicus salamander with heavy incorporation of significant portion of genetic material and allowed the subspecies to breed for 12 generations into a stable phenotype. Then through a controlled reproductive program, small portions of the organism's DNA were incorporated into in vivo fetal humans at varying stages of development. Best results occurred when this was carried out during the formation of blastocystic structures, which yielded a population of dependably fertile organisms. The current population of Shin Kappa are being raised in captivity and are expected to reach reproductive maturity within the year. Once conclusive survivability data has been obtained, specimens are to be transferred to Qinghai take and observed to determine if further engineering is necessary for survival outside of captivity. Should observations be deemed acceptable, specimens are to be airlifted from Shanghai to Vladivostok and loaded onto a smuggling craft into Hokkaido, from which small breeding population will be relocated to the historical ranges of the Kappa, on the desk of General Aito Hashima Outpost. Okay, that's that, but we also have something called the enlistees. Here we go. We're not gonna fucking click all these stuff. This fleshcraft doesn't all that, like, well, cool and all that shit, but like, that's just all extra thing. I think it's just different group of interests and stuff like that, so we don't have to work like that. Project on Koshoku 1950. Purpose: following the Pacific War between the Empire and the Western powers of the United States, and towards the end of the conflict, the USSR, tension between IGAMEA and the Russian Containment Agency, only known to us by the name Group P, have increased ever since the Nomonhan incident. These tensions have escalated beyond what any reasonable man could consider safe. Oh god. External document summary. The Group P is believed to be a specialized subsection of the main intelligence directorate, GRU, a foreign intelligence agency operating within the Red Army and armed with the Red Ministry of Defense. Unlike... I forgot. Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot moving the mouse does that. Defense, unlike other organizations such as the barbaric book burners or cold jailers, the organization only captures threats to the motherland. This does not extend to those outside to that motherland. These tensions have escalated beyond what any reasonable man could consider safe. Border disputes have caused untold bloodshed between our glorious empire and the Socialist Republic for the past 4 years, ever since the end of our campaign by the West and its allies. Most of these border disputes end in the death of our soldiers and greatest generals due to our lack of knowledge and general intelligence of this Group P. The following project has been proposed in order to maintain imperial independence from foreign powers, specifically that of Russian neighbors. Its goals are as follows: infiltration into Group P operations in Moscow, Siberia, and other areas the enemy is located. Members of the Warsaw Pact have been discussed, but nothing has been established beyond mild whispers. Discover and possibly convert research regarding anomalies by the Group P. Inquire into the possibility of anomalous weaponry being manufactured by Group P. Sabotage Group P operations involve areas near the imperial border. Through the completion of these objectives, IGAMEA might crush the Russian capacity to disrupt the court's supremacy in the east. Okay. Asset is the first time the IGAMEA will be going against a foreign containment agency since the assault on the Western merchants in the pre-war years. As such, various forms of funding are going to be needed. Various different sources have been considered, specifically from the Western Agency Unusual Incidents Unit. They will provide the majority of the materials needed for the goals of this operation as long as we maintain cooperation with occupying American forces. Aside from financial funding, IGAMEA will need volunteers who would be willing to lay down their lives for the good of the operation in our glorious empire. The individuals considered for this opportunity to serve their country are the peoples of Siberia, Russians living within the empire, Japanese living within the USSR borders, and those who can be brought to our side, whether through coercion or economic incentive. Others, such as great warriors of the Haida Mountains, have also been considered. If possible, flesh crafters are to be converted and promised suffrage from the communist oppressor if they are willing to participate in such an operation, although this will not be the main source of fresh recruits to the operation. Results: failure. Our comrades failed us like they have 5 years ago. Nothing has been done to curb communist expansion. In fact, it has expanded. The Chinese to the west have founded the red roaches like Russia before it, and like that of the other European nations after the Allies raped Germany and in possession. Whoa, God, okay, yeah. You don't have to say it like that, dude. Our spies were captured within months of being stationed, tortured, and placed into Siberian concentration camp, where to be worked and starved to death. Never knowing the full beauty of death on the battlefield, but only the meek suffering of captivity. Footnote. Operations regarding our possible liberation of these soldiers is currently being discussed with our backers. The Russians knew spies. The nation was built upon the backs of saboteurs and liars. The long-term efforts towards destabilization of the USSR in either Moscow or in areas such as Siberia have been unfruitful. Nor has our objective of converting technology toward our side led to any innovations to our soldiers and generals. Secrecy clouds the GRU and its P division, to the point that even many of the highest-ranking officials of the intelligence directorate even knew Secrecy clouds the GRU and its P division, to the point that even many of the highest ranking officials of the Intelligence Directorate even knew that it existed. Okay, there's two evens in there. One of them doesn't need to be. Like, to the point that even many of the highest ranking officials of the Intelligence Directorate knew that it existed. Yeah. And even few... How many more events are we going to use? And even fewer knew its purpose beyond the arm of a barbaric Georgian. The only knowledge gained about P Division was some of its locations near Siberia, and the experiments perpetrated by them. The papers never explicitly state the products of these experiments, but based on the amount of rubles being spent, along with many accolades from the inner faction of the Red Army, it cannot be good for our empire. Another footnote. Fat footnote. Through the through the newest weaponry, where does this lead? Future. Through the newest new weaponry revolution, socialism can be spread throughout the world without a single death. Unknown high-ranking general. Religious fervor will be translated towards more productive ends, such as serving the motherland or civil service to Comrade Stalin. Unknown generals. Flesh crafters will be reined in, and if successful, abandon their barbaric religion and come fully under the control of the party. USSR diplomat believed to have worked with flesh crafters in the Urals for extended period of time. The myth of genocide in the Ukraine will be erased from public conscience and further create trust between the party and the people of the USSR, high-ranking Communist Party officials. I can close all these shits too. Oh my god. Whew! A little bit of a tangent. But that was just me personally being curious. Yeah, it's too late to say that now. But people who watch the video can skip that part if they want to. But yeah, 14 arms, 14 legs, 7 heads. But Japanese people, people think they are just regular people with telekinetic tendencies. I would hate to have an argument over their normal friend. Whew, yeah. Can you imagine being like, it's like, listen, that's clearly not a normal human being. It's like, what? How dare you say that? This person has been through thick and thin with me and has been my emotional support for years. They are, not only are they emotionally and mentally very mature, but they have been my bridge. When I needed to cross a cliff, they have been my car. When I need to get somewhere, they have been everything to me. I'm like, yes, that's very sweet, but that's still a freak of nature right there. Like, and they're just absolutely like, get out of my house. Get out of my house. Don't ever come back. I don't want to talk to you ever again. It's like, man, what do you mean? Have you ever look at him? How can you not see what I'm seeing? I said, get out of my house. I don't want anything anymore to do with you.